Our opening words this morning have a responsive element if you'd like to join in. The response is simply, we travel this road together. From the busyness of every day, we gather once a week to remember who we are and to dream of who we might become. We travel this road together. As companions on this journey, we share the milestones that we meet along the way. Individual moments of joy and sorrow become shared moments of comfort and celebration. We travel this road together. We share this journey across differences of belief and opinion because we value diversity and we care for one another. We travel this road together. Through times of trial and turbulence, we contribute as best we can, showing up and supporting one another's efforts as we work to fulfill our mission. We travel this road together. We are strengthened by those values that we share, called onwards by the vision of a better world for all. We travel this road together. Today, as we take the next step, let us notice our fellow travellers, the burdens that they carry, and the songs that inspire their hearts. We travel this road together. And as we gather in beloved community, let us open the holy havens of our hearts. Let us share the sacred places of our souls, for we are pilgrims who share a common path. We travel this road together. These words from Tess Baumberger welcome all who have gathered this morning for our Sunday service. Welcome to those of you who are here in person at Essex Church. Welcome to everyone who's joining us via Zoom from far and wide, and indeed anyone listening to the podcast stream or watching on YouTube at a later date. For anyone who doesn't know me, my name's Jane Blackall and I'm Minister with Kensington Unitarians. Our service this morning is titled Every Little Helps, a title suggested by our own David Brewerton, who'll be offering his own reflections on this theme later in the service. When world events, or perhaps our own personal trials, seem big, too overwhelming, it is just so easy for us to get disheartened and feel helpless. This morning's service will hopefully be a bit of an antidote to that sense of powerlessness. We're going to be affirming the importance of persisting with doing what we can do and attending to the small acts that are within our reach, in the hope that this will help to nudge our world or our own lives in a better direction. But before we go any further, let's do what we always do. Let's take a moment to pause, to settle, to really arrive. Maybe take a breath, ground and centre ourselves. Set aside anything we came in carrying. And we'll light our chalice flame, this simple ritual that connects us with Unitarians and Unitarian Universalists the world over, and which reminds us of the proudly progressive religious tradition of which this gathering is part. We light our chalice as a symbol of the light within us and the life that flows through the world around us. It is our beacon as we search for truth. It is the warmth in our hearts for love, and it is the energy that propels us to action. May we be kindled by our time together this morning. Our first hymn, time to sing. Our first hymn this morning is on your green hymn sheet, The World Needs Love. I got mixed up about how many hymn sheets we'd need this morning, so you've got an extra one. It's to a familiar tune, which is why you've not got the words. For those on Zoom, the words will be up on screen, as they will for all the hymns today. Feel free to stand or sit as you prefer, and let's sing up as best we can. The world needs love. So let's take all of those joys and concerns, both spoken and unspoken, into an extended time of prayer now. This is based on some words by my colleague Adam Slate. You might want to adjust your position to be more comfortable. You might want to close your eyes or soften your gaze. Perhaps there's a posture that helps you to feel more prayerful. Whatever helps you to get into the right state of body and mind for us to pray together now, to be fully present to ourselves, to each other, and to that which lies within us and beyond us. Spirit of life, God of all love, in whom we live and move and have our being. We turn our full attention to you, the light within and without, as we tune into the depths of this life and the greater wisdom to which and through which we are all intimately connected. Be with us now as we allow ourselves to drop into the silence and the stillness at the very centre of our being. Spirit of life, Spirit of love, Spirit of hope, Spirit of justice, God known by many different names. You have given us a day unique from any other. You have connected us, all of us, with each other and with the world in ways that are largely a mystery to us. You've given us little instruction other than to be present in our own lives, to feel wonder at the creations of the universe, and to love one another wholeheartedly. You have put gifts and challenges in our paths, joys and sorrows, strengths and frailties, some of which we've already encountered and others we are yet to discover. So on this unique day, may we receive the blessings that we need to flourish and the courage that we need to act in service of the good. And let us take a few quiet moments now to look inward, to get in touch with what's real, what's going on beneath the surface of our life this morning. Let us notice what it is that we're carrying, what it is that's troubling us, what questions and uncertainties we're facing, and what hopes we nurture. And from that place of knowing what's real, silently and inwardly ask for what you most need this day. And don't worry too much about who or what it is you're asking. Maybe you're casting it out into the universe. Even if you're the only one to hear your prayer, get clear on what it is you need this day. And let us also be sure to give thanks for what we already have. Let us look back on the week and recall all of those moments, be they large or small, moments of kindness, generosity, or comfort, maybe moments of joy. And silently and inwardly take time to savour those gifts, connect with gratitude, and take in the good. And let us turn our attention outwards, shifting it to the world around us, those who are close to our heart, those who are neighbours and strangers, the wider community that stretches ever outward, as we sense we are connected to every living being we share this planet with. and let us hold them all in love. Spirit of life, God of all love, as this time of prayer draws to a close, we offer up our joys and our concerns, our hopes and our fears, our beauty and our brokenness. And we call on you for insight, healing and renewal. As we look forward now to the coming week, help us to live well each day and be our best selves, using our unique gifts in the service of love, justice and peace. Amen. Time to sing again now. Our second hymn is on your pink hymn sheet. We belong to one another. We have sung this before, but I'm not sure we've learned it yet, so perhaps, Andrew, if you can play it through once before we sing. We belong to one another.
Faith in Small Actions by Tim Atkins. This reflection by Unitarian Universalist Tim Atkins opens with a quote from Good Omens. It used to be thought that the events that changed the world were things like big bombs, maniac politicians, huge earthquakes, or vast population movements. But it's now been realized that this is a very old-fashioned view. The things that really change the world, according to chaos theory, are the tiny things. A butterfly flaps its wings in the Amazonian jungle, and subsequently a storm ravages half of Europe. Tim Atkins continues. When I first learnt about the chaos theory during the summer before my 8th grade year, I never expected it to have such a profound impact on my spirituality. Meteorologist Edward Lawrence first discovered the chaos theory when he realized that one small, infinitesimally small change can lead to a dramatically different result. And he proved it mathematically. In a complex system, one small change can lead to a result that hadn't even been imagined. Meteorologists dub this the butterfly effect, which hypothesizes that a butterfly flapping its wings in one part of the globe could cause a tornado in another. The weather system is too complex to fully ever be predicted. One small change, the butterfly flapping its wings, could lead to a dramatically different result in the end. The more complex the system, the more likely it is that a small change can have a drastic impact. Now, what system is there out there more complex than life? If the chaos theory proves that in complex systems, small changes lead to dramatic results, then it follows that the chaos theory also proves that in life, a small change can also lead to a dramatic result. This is an incredibly empowering thought to me. Small changes in my personal life can lead to dramatic improvements years down the road. And the small changes I try to make through engaging in social justice work have the potential to change the entire world. So often, I felt overwhelmed about social justice. How can I change the entire world? It's too hard. It's too complicated to change the world. I'm just one person. How often have you felt something similar? We have to have faith to take these small actions. We have to have faith that in the end, our small actions matter. That our small actions will lead to the result we want. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they don't. We can't predict what will happen when a small change has been entered into a complex system. The only thing we can predict is that we've changed the future in some way. Every single one of us can make a change today that will change the future in ways we can't possibly imagine today. What change will you make? May we all be reminded of our own agency in changing the world. Let us all take small actions that build off each other and change the world in beautiful and unexpected ways.
Thanks, Roy. We're moving into a time of meditation now. I feel I should preface this by acknowledging we've had a small kerfuffle in the church and there might be some disturbance in the air. So let's do what we can to set that aside, to recenter ourselves. To take us into our time of stillness, I'm going to share a selection of quotes on this theme of doing small things with great love. This is the thing that we do quite often in our heart and soul gatherings, just to introduce a few different perspectives on a theme that we can then meditate on. And I hope they will encourage you of the worth of making whatever contributions you can towards the greater good, even if it does all still feel a bit overwhelming. There are 7 quotes I'm going to share. If you're in the building, they're on your hymn sheet, so you can look at them later, but I'd suggest you tuck that away and just let them wash over you for now. And I'm going to invite Brian to come up and share the reading with me. The quotes are going to take us into a few minutes of shared silence, which will end with the sound of a bell. And then we'll hear some more beautiful music for meditation from Abby, Sydney and Andrew. So let's do what you need to do to get comfortable, maybe adjust your position, maybe get your feet flat on the floor. And, this is a longer intro, a wordier intro to meditation than usual. Feel free to let the words wash over you. You can use this time to meditate in your own way.
Clarissa Pinkola Estes said, Ours is not the task of fixing the entire world all at once, but of stretching out to mend the part of the world that is within your reach. Any small, calm thing that one soul can do to help another soul, to assist some portion of this poor, suffering world, will help immensely. It is not given to us to know which acts or by whom will cause the critical mass to tip towards an enduring good.
Kim Chernan said, "Devotion to the small is the spiritual core of political acts. As a devotion, it takes note of the power of the small and observes its potential for generating consequence. This is what makes it political. The small, it might be said, spins the threads that weave the net that catches the world."
Howard Zinn said, "Revolutionary change does not come as one cataclysmic moment. Beware of such moments. But as an endless succession of surprises, moving zigzag towards a more decent society. We don't have to engage in grand, heroic actions to participate in the process of change. Small acts, when multiplied by millions of people, can transform the world."
Kent Nurburn said, "We must remind ourselves that though our lives are small and our acts seem insignificant, we are generative elements of this universe, and we create meaning with each act that we perform or fail to perform."
M.J. Ryan said, "What's the first small step to what you want? Go ahead, underwhelm yourself. The success you create will give you the courage and enthusiasm to persevere and perhaps even up the ante."
John Angel James said, "I am only one, but still I am one. I cannot do everything, but still I can do something. And because I cannot do everything, I will not refuse to do the something I can do."
Mother Teresa said, "Not all of us can do great things, but we can do small things with great love."
Thanks, Brian.
Choose to Bless the World by Rebecca Parker. Your gifts, whatever you discover them to be, can be used to bless or curse the world. The mind's power, the strength of the hands, the reaches of the heart, the gift of speaking, listening, imagining, seeing, waiting. Any of these can serve to feed the hungry, bind up wounds, welcome the stranger, praise what is sacred, do the work of justice, or offer love. Any of these can draw down the prison door, hoard bread, abandon the poor, obscure what is holy, comply with injustice, or withhold love. You must answer this question. What will you do with your gifts? Choose to bless the world. The choice to bless the world is more than an act of will, a moving forward into the world with the intention to do good. It is an act of recognition, a confession of surprise, a grateful acknowledgement that in the midst of a broken world, unspeakable beauty, grace, and mystery abide. There is an embrace of kindness that encompasses all life, even yours. And while there is injustice, anesthetization, or evil, there moves a holy disturbance, a benevolent rage, a revolutionary love, protesting, urging, insisting. That which is sacred will not be defiled. Those who bless the world live their life as a gesture of thanks for this beauty and this rage. The choice to bless the world can take you into solitude, to search for the sources of power and grace, native wisdom, healing, and liberation. More, the choice will draw you into community, the endeavor shared, the heritage passed on, the companionship of struggle, the importance of keeping faith, the life of ritual and praise, the comfort of human friendship, the company of earth, the chorus of life welcoming you. None of us alone can save the world. Together, that is another possibility waiting.
You see it all over the place. Every little helps. If it now seems to be owned by Tesco, that was not always the case. As a proverb, it goes back centuries, at least to the 1700s, and that's the genius of it. When the advertising copywriter presented it to Tesco in 1993, he didn't have to sell it or repeat it. Everybody in the meeting had already heard it from their mothers, grandmothers, all over. All they had to do was nod wisely and say, "That's the one. That's for us." And it still is. As recently as January this year, it was voted Britain's favourite slogan. Now, I know next to nothing about the theory of advertising, but it has been suggested that the proverb's extraordinary success is because it reduces Tesco to a manageable size. So Tesco isn't the automated behemoth that underpays farmers and blocks our roads with its juggernauts, but a friendly business that, above all, understands us, understands that we may appreciate a little help from time to time. And they can provide it. After all, it doesn't need Tesco to tell us every little helps. We know it already, as did our mothers and our aunties. As I said, genius. Okay. Many of you will be familiar with the starfish story. The version I like concerns a little girl who comes across the beach covered with thousands of starfish that have been washed up in a storm. She begins throwing them one by one back into the sea. An adult stops to tell her she will never throw enough of them back to make a difference. The little girl pauses, starfish in hand, and looks up at the adult. Then she throws the starfish as far as she could into the sea. Well, she said, I made a difference to that one. The adult knew when he was beaten, and he too began picking up starfish, returning them to the water. Others joined in, and soon, little by little, all the starfish were back where they belonged. The other Sunday morning we came out of the house, I noticed a rental bike, a Lime bike, lying across the pavement. Anyone pushing a buggy or in a wheelchair would not be able to get past it. I went to pick it up. They are heavy, really heavy, too heavy. Patricia made to come and help me, but then a young man stopped, waved us back, picked the thing up and propped it neatly on its stand against the wall. Would he have bothered if he hadn't seen two old people struggling? Maybe, maybe not. You never know. But here's the point. One small thing can and frequently does lead to a bigger thing. I wondered what would have happened if that same scene had been carried out where there are often dozens of capsized bikes, say down at Angel. Would it be like the starfish story, with others joining in to pick them up? I've no idea. But even if only one bike is moved out of the way, it makes a difference. At the conclusion of our meditative prayers each Sunday, we just heard it, we talk of using our unique gifts in the service of love, justice, and peace. But how do we do that? I mean, Unitarians. Well, here's an example. At the end of January, the 16 Just Stop Oil campaigners who had been sent to jail went to the Court of Appeal to challenge the 41 years of excessive prison sentences they had received for their parts in actions. A demonstration in support of the jailed activists was planned to take place outside the court over the 2 days of the hearing. On the second day, a sit-down in the Strand for 90 minutes was scheduled for the middle of the day. Somebody in Unitarians for Climate Justice realised that Essex Hall, the Unitarian HQ, is just a stone's throw from the High Court where the appeal was to be heard. What's more is that Essex Hall has unused space which includes an empty shop with direct access to the street. These were unique gifts that the Unitarians possessed, and that the service that could be offered was a respite centre for those taking part in the protest outside the court. Unitarians could offer hot drinks, toilets, a sit-down, a chat, and a warm-up as respite from the cold tarmac of the Strand. Many who volunteered to steward and serve at the venue over the 2 days were just that bit too frail to go and sit down in the road with the risk of being arrested. But making tea and coffee, opening packets of biscuits, washing up, and telling people where the toilets were, They had done that for years at church. It was second nature to them. You need gifts? Making tea and coffee? Welcoming? Offered in the service of love and justice, our prayer answered, if you like. It was a service much needed and enormously appreciated, especially the loos. Here's what a well-known theatre director who came by, Ian Rickson, wrote. As the protests and speeches began to congregate, a gentle army bustled round in the improvised canteen of the Unitarian HQ. Octogenarians unwound beautiful ballads. Volunteers refilled people's mugs. And younger activists temporarily nuzzled in for the warmth that emanates from this unique site. Outside, the courts were raising their power. The police vans were multiplying. But in this unique zone where faith intersected with protest, there was solidarity. The occasion was, of course, a great advertisement for the Unitarians. So many of those who came to seek respite were looking for somewhere to donate. But what they will remember is that Unitarians offered the service in the name of justice and out of love. They didn't know, and we didn't tell them, that the volunteers had travelled, often long distances, at their own expense, and that they brought the refreshments with them. That wasn't the point. The point was that in our own way, we had found a way to contribute to a cause in which we believed. We may be unable to climb gantries above the motorway, or were perhaps too cautious to risk arrest outside the Royal Courts of Justice. There were, by the way, enough police there to have arrested everyone 3 times over, vans full of board officers and nose to tail down Chancery Lane. Anyway, last Friday, the judges announced their verdict while a police helicopter circled overhead. There were some token reductions in some sentences, but they fell well short of what many would regard as justice served. But it was something, better than nothing, and the Unitarians have found a role to play. As Ian Rickson pointed out so beautifully, we are a gentle army, but nonetheless determined for all that. Every little helps.
Many thanks, David. So time for one last hymn. Our final hymn is number 37 in your purple books, For the Fruits of All Creation, hymn number 37. Lovely. Just a few announcements now then. Thanks to Ramona for tech hosting, to Sherry for co-hosting online. Thanks to David for his reflection and for coming up with this great theme. Thanks to Roy and Brian and Chloe for readings. Thanks to Sydney, Abby and Andrew for really wonderful music. And thanks to Benji for supporting our singing. We missed you last week, Benj. Thanks to Hannah for greeting, and Julia's already gone to put the kettle on. If you're here in person, do stay for refreshments. We have 2 cakes. I brought the old favourite of apple and sultana, but Jasmine's made some coffee and walnut too, so you can really go to town on the treats. Tonight and Friday at 7, we've got our Heart and Soul contemplative online spiritual gathering, and this week we're considering listening and being heard. We're just coming up to the 5th anniversary of Heart and Soul Online, so it's still a good time to join us, always room for more. Email me if you want the link for that. On Tuesday, we're supporting an event that's on at New Unity. They're hosting a workshop on the social model of disability. That's Tuesday night, 6:30 till 8:30. You can even go and participate in person at New Unity in Islington, or online where I'll be co-hosting. So let me know if you want the link for that. Although I think there's information in the Friday email. Community singing should be back this Wednesday, but who knows? I will let you know by Tuesday when our leader has confirmed or not. It's always great fun if it happens, but there's that element of mystery until the last minute. This month's Better World Book Club is on Every Kind of People by Catherine Falk. We've given away the books that we had to lend out, but if you're struggling to get a copy and you really want to come, just let me know and we'll try and sort you out. And if you already took a copy, can you let me know, because I've got no idea who's got them. Members of the congregation should have received your voting packs for the Executive Committee elections. If you're confused about that process or you want to know anything more, grab me after the service and I'll try and fill you in. Next week, Sarah Tinker will be leading our service, marking the spring equinox, and that will be followed by Margaret's singing class and the art, play, crafternoon. So there's plenty going on next week. Do make sure you're here for all that. All this is on the back of your order of service. It's in the Friday email. Or you can take home a copy of the spring newsletter that's in the foyer if you haven't already got one. We've very much got a life beyond Sunday morning, so we encourage you to keep in touch, look out for each other, and do what you can to nurture supportive connections. So just time for our closing words and closing music. As we extinguish the chalice flame, may the warmth of its light remain within us, guiding our steps and our hearts in the week ahead. Let us carry forward the strength of this community, the courage to speak truth, and the hope that transformation is possible. And in each breath we take, may we remember that the work of love, justice, and healing is ours to continue, both here in this church and beyond these walls, doing whatever little we can to further the cause of goodness each day. Go in peace with the light of this gathering to illuminate your way. Amen.
Thank you.